Hey, what's going on, my life, God's Way family? Welcome to episode 4, Fatherhood Part 3. Today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Mike Norice himself from Artfully United. Today is going to be a very great conversation that needs to be had. Today, my guest, he's going to bring his experience co-parenting. Co-parenting. He has a daughter, and that he's definitely want to share his knowledge and his insight as he has grown into the man that he is today, and just his relationship that he has now that it has grown. So I want to let him introduce himself. It's Mr. Mike Norris.
Yep. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Norice, artist, philanthropist, the whole nine. I'm just glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Oh man, hey man, it's great to have you. If you all haven't, check out his Instagram at Mike Norris. He is a phenomenal artist. If you haven't checked him out already, he has different murals around the city. Talk to us about a little about your murals and your artwork, please.
Okay, well, I'm split between two different types of art. I have Mike Norris art. That's where I go into
Okay.
just more of murals as far as portraits, a lot
Okay.
of color and stuff like that. And then I have Artfully United, which is a lot of people don't know is two different
Okay.
companies.
Okay.
So Artfully United is more just focused on positive messages in the community, just to uplift the inner city
Right.
community.
Right. Right.
We have words like forgiveness, love, believe, et cetera, et cetera. Those are some of the powerful words that we have around the city that get a lot of feedback. In
Right.
addition to have murals I've done for like Starbucks, projects for Nike, and
Mm-hmm.
other entities that Mike Norris art gets commissioned for. So
Oh,
it's two
cool,
different
cool.
things. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm glad you actually brought that to fruition because I didn't know that. So I
Yeah,
thought it
yeah,
was all
yeah.
in the same,
Nah,
But
it's
I'm
two
glad.
different.
See, this
Yeah.
is important that
You,
we know. I don't want to mix up the
yeah,
business
you got
aspect.
Coke and you got Sprite.
Right. I
Same
don't want
company,
to.
two different flavors.
Right. Pepsi and Coke. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to mess it up. But when you all get a chance, please go over there and follow him on social media at Mike Norris. That's MikeNorice, and Artfully United. Two different entities, but it's all within the same individual, the talented hands, Mr. Mike Norris himself. Today we're gonna get right into the subject matter, and it's fatherhood. And I brought Mike on this show because he's gonna talk about his experience with just co-parenting. It's something that I recently became aware of, but he's just gonna share a little bit of his story about his co-parenting experience with his first child. So, Mike, so how's that going? You know.
Well, as of now, I really don't have much of a relationship with my daughter.
Okay.
I pray to God that that will diminish over time.
Right.
It's just due to the nature of our location.
Okay.
She's across the country, and that was taken away from me when maybe like 5 years ago,
Okay.
where she moved without my knowledge, and once she was there, that's when I got aware of that she was actually moving.
Right. Right.
So, and I would say I'm a very proud father, especially when
Right.
I had my daughter.
Right.
I was, very, very excited to have a daughter. In the beginning, was a little worried about because of the circumstances in
Mhm.
which, who I had my child by. It just wasn't the ideal situation for me
Right. Right.
moving forward as far as relationship wise. But I definitely wanted to be in my daughter's life, and
Right.
it went well for as far as being there, up and down. I wouldn't say well, but just up and down, being
Right.
there for the first 4 years, and then last 4 or 5 years just hasn't really been involved.
Right.
Just due to the fact that I just physically can't see her.
Right.
You know,
Now,
so.
let me ask you something. So you made the statement that she moved, and then that's when you're aware that they moved out of state. I'm assuming. Like, how did that make you feel? This is your firstborn, and this is your flesh. This is your seed. And little girls hold a special place in us guys' heart. We're their first love. We're the ones that cultivate their relationships with men as they get older. How did that make you feel, being that she was now in a whole nother state, without your knowledge?
Yeah. Well, my first thought was just very emotional,
Mm-hmm.
cry, of course. And just want to just kind of be there for her,
Right.
being a girl, being the first man that has that image of a man,
Right,
you
right.
know, from a human being. You know, we as a father, you know, we can show her the right way, the wrong way, or we can show her no way.
Right, right.
You know, and a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of women are shown no way, so
Right, true.
they kind of lean to love for another man, you know, whether it be a boyfriend, another father figure, or
Right.
you know, mom's boyfriend or whoever.
Right, that's true.
And that can go either way, you know. So I just felt that, you know, I'm a man. I kind of like to control the situation in
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
in every aspect. That's just, I don't know, it's something that's been inherited, I guess, in my my spirit. So
yeah.
you know, I felt that I lost control over
Mhm.
the situation, that it, you know, it would be hard from that point on to not necessarily control my daughter, but to just have a place in her heart. You know
Right.
what I mean? I just felt that I was taken out of that place, and
Mhm.
now I'm just kind of just sitting, you know, front seat to the movie that I cannot direct.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, well, that's very interesting. I'm definitely gonna keep you all in prayer, you know, because like I said, it's very important that us men, that we stay active and involved in our children's lives because they need us,
Yeah.
you know. And question, so you know that was then, you know, like you said, you feel like you're part of a movie that you're directing, but you can't really control the situation,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Do you feel like over the years it has gotten worse or better, and where would you like to see it get?
Well, the pain is definitely gotten better, as far as I don't feel it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still there.
Right,
You
right.
know, in the beginning, it got to the point to where I was physically getting sick.
Yeah.
I'm a creative, so it affected my art.
Mm-hmm.
It affected my at that time. I was getting into a real serious relationship with my now wife,
Right, right.
and it affected our relationship because I was just just to myself, and I didn't want to talk about anything, and it affected my at that time soon to be son, you
Mm-hmm.
know, relationship with him. And you know, I was just praying one day, and God just said, you know, you're gonna have to just suppress these feelings just so you can move on.
Right.
I never will forget about my daughter, but it I just had to put it in God's hands so I can live my life, and continue, you know, to just deal with fatherhood from and being a husband, you
Right,
know,
right.
because it affected me. Like it really did, because I was trying to, you know, go to court, do this, do that, and it was something that I just could not control,
Right.
you know, and it just really affected me physically, and then I just had to just put it to a side, and that's what gets me through the day, and that's what
Right,
has gotten me through the last 4 or 5 years of just, you know, just putting it in God's hands. That's all
Right.
I had to do.
No, that's great. You know, one thing I will say, this is I feel like it's a podcast about the Christian journey, as well as, you know, opening up to culture, because everyone's relationship with Christ is different.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said that, you know. So some people, and the way they express themselves, or, you know, the things that they do is different. So that's one thing that I love about this podcast, is that it can bring different individuals onto this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, like when I say a talented artist, if you guys have not checked out this man's artwork, please do it. Like, I'm telling you, when I first seen your artwork for Forgiveness,
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is dope. And it's
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
because, you know, you're my wife's cousin, but you're now my cousin, because I'm married into the family.
Definitely.
But, you know, I was like, this dude got the Lord in his fingers. Like, you know, your artwork is your artwork is really, it's powerful, man. And, you know, let me ask you something. Do you feel, with all this and the strain on not having a relationship with your daughter that you wanted, do you feel it took a toll on your artwork, or has it become like that pain that you suppress? You have put that fuel into your artwork to be more inspirational, that one day she may see something that you do and you can tell her, like, when daddy was going through this is something during that time when I wanted to see you. I put that energy into this artwork.
Well, in the beginning, like I said, it really, I couldn't create it. It put a creative block
Right.
on everything, and due to the nature of my business, I can't really be too much of a creative block, or else I just don't eat. So,
And man, don't work, you don't eat.
man, seriously. So, but art is therapeutic for me.
Very much so.
So, but when I'm creating, there's no, when I get in the mode of creating, I don't have a care in the world. It doesn't matter. Like,
Right.
it doesn't, like, seriously, it doesn't matter. So I'm flowing, and I know she knows her dad is an artist, and she's at an age where she probably goes on Instagram, and I'm sure she checks me out.
Yeah, well, that's a blessing.
So I do feel in her heart that she still, I don't know, may want to just be proud to be my daughter.
Right.
I pray that she still does, and no malice has been put in her head about
Right.
why what is what, and just the whole situation. But yeah, like I said in the beginning, the art did have a big effect. I couldn't really create, but after I suppressed those feelings down, I was able to create again, and I actually started the Artfully United tour shortly after she moved. And that's where you get into forgiveness, the love, the believe, and all the positive messages that you see around the city.
So that kind of like inspires you.
Yeah,
Okay.
It birthed
That's
Artfully
good.
United. Not the situation, but just the timeline of it. That's when I started Artfully United in 2016.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. So let me ask you something. Based on that situation and the whole co-parenting experience, on what it is or what it isn't, how do you feel like that has affected your now parenting with your son? Because you do have the son, a son now. So how has that affected your parenting with him? Do you feel like you kind of hold on really close to him because
Definitely. MJ he has an overwhelming love. I think I probably kiss MJ 20 times a day.
Right.
And tell him I love him at least 15.
Right. That's good.
So he gets his sister's love and his love that he normally would get.
Right.
And that's a special thing that me and him have, and just I don't know, just it's too much love I give him. I mean, if that's even possible.
Right.
But
Nah.
yeah, he definitely gets it.
Some people may say that about me and Nathan, but I don't think so. And I feel, like for me, and I shared this with you, something you probably didn't know, but I didn't have my dad growing up. So I talked to like my brother and my best friend about the whole situation. I felt like at times I overcompensated because I didn't have him around. So I felt like I had to, give Aiden all these things. But what's most important is that they know you love them with provision. Just being able to give them the necessities, the toys and all that stuff. They're going to grow out of the toys. They're not going to see them no more. But just how you're saying, how you kiss, your son, tell him you love him, hug him, and all those great things every day, numerous times a day. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because one of the keys on this episode was just focusing on a different perspective. Now, you're a man that you married your wife, you did the right thing, and you're very active in your child's life, And I tell people this all the time, there's good and bad in every race, every gender, male and female. There's bad men in the world, there's bad women in the world, and just to see you being this action figure of a man to your son, because when he sees you, when you draw these big murals to your son, I'm pretty sure MJ looks at you like, man, like my daddy's a superhero. You know, you can draw these big murals that's, what's the biggest one you ever drawn? Probably what, 20, 30, 40 feet high, something like that?
30 feet by 100 feet.
I mean, so doing something like that, I'm pretty sure he's seen you like on the skyscrapers and, you know, drawing. Like that's awesome. So man, I'm gonna tell you if nobody else do, man, you're doing an awesome job. Appreciate and it. I do pray one day that, you know, and it may be through this podcast. Who knows? Yeah. You know, it may get somewhere to where your daughter can see like the yearning in your heart for her to know that, you know, if daddy could, I would see you every day.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's important, you know, and I believe that God is going to make provisions to allow that to happen.
And you know, in due time, I just know that's what I said, put it in God's hands, and then I got to keep on with my life.
Right,
you know what I mean? And I'm doing everything in my power for when that time comes, I'm able to take her in. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. Right.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Now let me ask you something. Do you see possibly you want another daughter in the future?
No. I don't want any more kids.
You don't want any more kids? Your wife know this?
Yeah.
She know? Yeah. You got to watch that one over there. She plotting stuff on. Y'all going to have some more. You know, they be plotting.
I don't want no more kids.
No more? Why?
Well, one, I'm just too old. Really. I'm 40.
But let me tell you something about that. Know. I did not know you was 40, Mike.
Yeah, I'm 40.
Yeah. You don't. Well, I mean, you kind of got like a low key demeanor. Yeah, but I mean, if you don't act old. And 40 is not old. 40 is not old.
No, it's not. But it's too old to be changing diapers. Trust me. I don't know too many 40-year-olds changing diapers. When my mom was my age, I was in college. You know what I mean? Now I am preparing for preschool lesson plans.
Wow.
So it's just a different demeanor. When I'm 60, MJ's going to be graduating, you know, from high school.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I pray to see my grandkids from him. But you know what I mean?
That's not bad though, man.
No, it's not bad, it's just let's just say I had my wife pregnant right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
how would you react if you went home right now? She said, I'm pregnant.
I'm going to be in 60 when she's in first grade. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a walker in a walker going down the aisle when they get married. So
not a walker, man.
Seriously. If I would have had a kid today, it would be that way, because kids now they're not getting married like back in the day. They're waiting till like 30.
Right,
you know what I mean? So let's just say MJ waits till 30. 25 years from now, I'm gonna be 65 years old.
Right. I mean, but it's funny you actually mentioned that, because they're saying more and more individuals are having children later in life than they were back in the days. You know, men are waiting to their, in their 30s, having their first child and stuff like that. And this is the thing, my wife may disagree. I actually agree with it. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you why I agree with it. She's looking over there sideways and crazy. But I'm going to tell you why I agree with it. Because it gives you a chance to enjoy your youth without feeling like you have to essentially like watch everything you say and do, because you have, there's a child right there. There's somebody looking at your role model. Yeah. So when you don't have to do that, you can just travel and go to the parties and do what you want to do with reason, because you don't want to be buck wild and then you having popping get all over the world. You don't want to do that. But as a father, like even for me, like me and Shannon having Aiden, I was 25. So I mean, that's most of my friends. They have kids way younger than that. They would have had their first 19, 20, some 17 and 18. Even my brothers.
I was 30.
When you had your but that's good though. Yeah, that's good, because I feel like the maturity it's better. The more mature you are, I feel like it's better when you raise a child when you're more mature, because this is a different set of rules and things you can teach them as a mature adult.
Yeah. I've seen some situations that the mom had the kids so young, they growing up together. Like they figuring out life together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know somebody like that right now.
Yeah, they figuring out life together.
For sure.
And then when you don't have the father in too, you just have the mother and
it's all
and
bad.
a young, child that's only like 14, 15 years younger.
Right.
That's a tough situation.
Yep.
They grow up more like sisters.
Yeah.
Than anything. But, I just sometimes just around the house I feel old. But I do have a son that's 18.
Right.
And
shout out to Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony, he's dope.
It's my guy, man.
So
Anthony, he's so chill.
Yeah, very chill. So hopefully, he can give me grandkids no time soon.
Right.
But just,
you hear that, Anthony? So if you watching
10-year-ish, I would like to see, because MJ, who knows when that brother is gonna have kids. You know what I'm saying? He gonna tell his girlfriend he a superhero for the first 5 years. And then he would, she would have to deal with that. And then, but Anthony, hopefully, I'm not in my 50s, late 50s,
right.
before I have some grandkids. And
right.
That's
I don't think it'll be that late, because even he's just turned 18.
Yeah.
So even if he waits until he's 25, that's in another 7 years.
Yeah.
You'd just be 40, 47.
I'm gonna be almost 50.
That's not bad though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
There's a lot of people that become first time grandparents at 50 years old. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
And then you have a low key demeanor. Yeah. So you're not like this is funny, y'all. I'm gonna put a highlight about you right now. Mm-hmm. The most I ever seen you like active was at your wedding. When you was dancing and spinning on the dance floor, I was like, who is this?
The weddings is a thing for me.
I was like,
if you pull up resume in our family, which there hasn't been too many,
right?
Believe it or not, every wedding, I've always danced or done something. I was in Shannon's parents' wedding.
Right.
I was the best. I was not the best anything. I was a ring bearer.
Right.
In E.T. and Venice's wedding. And I danced there.
Wow.
Junior and Angela's
So
wedding.
you only dance at weddings?
Only at weddings, usually.
So you got the hots. Your dance skills
I don't know what it is. It's just dance at weddings is a tradition. So my own wedding,
right.
I had to turn up.
Let me tell you what's funny. You saying that right now, I don't know if y'all remember the movie The Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember they was clowning Mike? Talking, man, you got dance fever. Because he only danced like at parties and weddings. That's my nickname for you now.
Yeah,
dance fever. Every time there's a party or something in the family, I see you. Look at dance fever. Because I was like, but that was awesome because you as a father, I was like, look at Mike, enjoying something, that his sons is going to be able to look at and say, look, man, he did the right thing by moms. And that's something that they're going to, children, they look at the things that we do.
Yes.
So the more and more that we show them a good example, the better off they'll become in life.
Definitely.
So them seeing you say I do, to their mom, that's something that changes their whole world.
Yeah. I said my vows with MJ in my hand because at that time he had a fever. He had just caught a fever 2 days prior to our wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, what was MJ? He was 2 when we got married. And he was, still like a baby.
Right.
And he was real, kind of squirmish. He was quiet and real moody. And he started crying when we started doing the vows. I had to hold him, pick him up. And we had to say our vows with him in my hand. So all the pictures and everything of the I do's and videos, I had MJ in my hand.
But that's a great experience.
Yeah.
Like, like you said, I know you joke about it, talking about you don't want to be this old man having your first grandchild.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be a beautiful picture when they look back and MJ gonna be 20 years old and y'all gonna be going through the family album and be like, look.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you've been having a fever since 2 years old. Look, you got a fever now, having that. But that's something that it's gonna bring, memories into your household.
Mm-hmm.
That's something your family's gonna be able to sit around the couch and the Christmas tree and talk about. Look at you, you 17 now. You sit, but that's a beautiful thing.
Definitely,
that's a beautiful thing. So I do want to commend you on that. And we're gonna wrap up this episode. I'm really grateful for your openness and your transparency. Yeah. I pray that God really shines light on this situation to become better, to become what your heart desires it to be. You know, and I pray that, who knows, your daughter may see this and she may get the understanding that she needs if she's not getting the right understanding somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, that she would get the true understanding that even if something negative was said, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. This is not about, you know, bashing anybody. This solely is to bring openness and transparency to a situation that a lot of men go through.
Yes.
Not all men, you know, just don't want to be in their children's lives.
Yeah.
But some of these situations are brought on them without their control. You know, we talked about it earlier when the split happens, you know, and it's unfortunate, but we live in a judicial system that everything is geared towards the woman.
All day. I remember my first time sitting down with the what do they call it? Like a mediator. Person that was going to set up the schedule.
Right.
And me, I'm as fair as it can be.
Right.
I just said, okay, well, 7 days in the week. Shoot, let me have her 3 days. I'll give her 4 days.
Right.
The lady laughed at me.
Wow.
She didn't know my background. She didn't know her back. She didn't know anything. She says, I'll be lucky if the court gives me 4 days a month to spend. So I'm like, why? She said, that's just their normal. So it's kind of like starting a race.
Right.
One lap behind the person you're racing. You know what I mean? But you're expected to win the race. Well, not necessarily win the race, but run a race. You're already behind. Right. So it's like
so you're playing catch up essentially.
You're playing from the get go. You're
Wow.
playing catch up, and the system, like she said, that's the normal protocol.
Right.
They look at me as this is a case. Who cares about Mike Norice? This is the case. We're gonna just give you 4 days a week, and you have to pretty much have Johnny Cochran's team
right.
just to get maybe 8 days, a month.
Wow.
I mean 4 days. Yeah. So maybe you'll get some equal. So it's just unfair from the get go, but it's just tough. I would, for all the fathers out there that is not with their child's mother and you don't involve the court, sometimes it's an advantage, but sometimes it's a disadvantage because it depends on the mom. If they act with emotion and they use the children as pawns, or you can get an argument with the mom.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
You don't get to see your kids because we got an argument. You know what I mean?
That's so childish.
It's so childish,
man.
and
That's,
it's like,
that's childish.
and then they'll do the whole thing of, this didn't happen to me, but I've seen this happen where they may not have a place to stay. The father, and you're not gonna be staying with my kid at your mama's house and stuff like that. But when growing up, I spent a year. We were homeless when I was like 5.
Right.
We spent a year in my mom's Maverick. There was no court that was saying, "Well, we're gonna take you from your kids because you can't provide for a house."
No, it wasn't.
So who gives the right to the mother to lower, like, to take away fatherhood from a father just because they don't have a place to stay? To me, that standard is not with mothers, because I've seen some single mothers have their kids sleeping in an alley somewhere. You know what I mean?
That's real talk.
And nobody said, "Oh, we're gonna take the kids away," but they just, I've seen it. So, but when it comes to the mother and the father, they have the standard of, they pretty much have to stay in a mansion in order for my child to sleep with you. But when it's with the mother, who knows what's going on?
Yeah.
The standard isn't there.
They expect, from us men, we have to essentially have all of our ducks in a row.
Definitely.
All of our I's dotted.
Yeah.
All of our T's crossed. But it's not the same when it comes to the mother.
No. And let's not forget, you bet not be with another woman.
My Lord.
Don't have no women around my child.
My Lord.
You know what I mean? We're not together, but you just cannot be with anybody ever.
Right.
You know, so that's the problem.
Hey, you know what? Let me just put a pin right there. It's so funny you like brought that up. That is a lot of guys' reality. You know, when him and their child's mom split, one of the key factors, and I've talked to friends of mine that, you know, aren't in their kids' life and stuff like that. You know, one of the reasons why the woman is making it such a pain for you to see your child is not because, you know, you're a bad person, but it's like, oh, if you don't want to spend time with me, you can't spend time with your child.
Package deal.
It's a package deal. But it's like, that's so, I keep saying it, it's childish.
Package
like
deal.
we gotta do better than that.
Man, trust me, I know about that package deal. I just, you know, I started off, I paid for housing, you know, and still got this bad end. With me and my situation, not to go too much detail into it,
right.
The finish line kept moving. So it was like, okay, well, if you give me this, then you can have this. So say I did that, then I need this too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's kept on when the finish line keeps on moving, you're never finished. So you can just move forward with this schedule every time.
To me, that sounds like the individual. I'm not gonna call nobody's name out, but it just sounds like the individual is manipulating the situation.
The situation just kept changing, and I just wanted to get it to where, what can I base my parenting off of? What schedule is it? Are you staying here? Okay, well, I changed my schedule to accommodate that. Then that gets moved. Okay, now, you know, we're over here now, you know, or she's at that school or this, that, and now I'm in Texas. Now I'm in Tennessee. How, you know what I'm saying? So the finish line
like
just
musical
kept,
chairs.
yeah, it's like the finish line keeps moving, and how do you want stability from me when things are unstable, you know? So I don't know. I just pray that things change, you know, and I want my daughter to know that I do love her and I want to be there in her life, you know.
Right.
You know, and I just, like I said, just put it in God's hands, and I know things are getting better.
That's the best hands it can be in, to be honest with you.
Definitely.
Because I know he's going to make it right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so unfortunate that, you know, when we're courting individuals, we don't always know, you know, the end from the beginning. We don't really know, like, a person's personality and, you know, stuff like that. A lot of there's plenty of people in this world that play possum per se.
Yeah.
You know, they're not bringing out their true character and personality until you're already far into it. You know, because I'm pretty sure a lot of men or women, you know, dating, if they know what they know now about a certain individual that they were dating back then, they wouldn't have chose to date them.
Oh, man.
They wouldn't have chose to have a child with that individual.
Definitely.
Because, you know, some people are just dramified. Yeah. Some people are going through generational things. Yeah. You know, that individual, she may be or he may be going through something that his dad or his mom went through, or her dad or her mom went through, that now she's going through it. Yeah. Because it's a generational thing. You look at the mom didn't get along with her child's father. Yeah. You look at the grandmother didn't get along with her child's father. Yeah. So, I mean, we just have to learn in our community, the black and brown community, we have to learn how to, you know, build and keep better relationships. Yes. You know, we have to tackle those issues that we've had as children that we bring into relationships and marriages, so that we can continue to, you know, be shining lights for our kids, so that they can see the great examples, so they can grow up and be the next Barack and Michelle Obama. They can see, you know, the light at the end of the dark tunnel. Yeah. Because I didn't grow up with both parents in the household. Yeah. But I was blessed to have, you know, my grandparents were married for over 40 years. So I did see an example of marriage. Yeah. You know what I mean? I did see an example of a man sticking with his family, and I'm seeing that more and more now, and I'm grateful. You know, being married to my wife and seeing you get married to your wife, it's beautiful. My godfather, him and his wife, been married for over 30 years. So we do have marriages in our community. Definitely. But it's so unfortunate that, you know, that's not something that's broadcast on CNN.
Yeah.
That's not something that's broadcast on ABC7. You know, outstanding fatherhood is not the topic of discussion.
Well, I mean, this is a whole nother discussion, but I think our generation is changing the narrative of the
definitely.
black community.
Definitely.
Our parents, the baby boomers,
Definitely.
I don't know what happened with them. Like, they just, whew, they there's a whole nother.
It's funny. What generation do you call that one, Shannon, again? Yeah, I can't think of what she said, but it's a certain, what you call it, the crack.
Oh yeah,
because there was a whole wave, a generation like that we knew. Like, if your parents was born during a certain time, they did crack at some point because it was just a wave.
Yeah, no, it
really was.
Like I said, there's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
From the baby boomers generation, I'm sorry I have to say it, they jacked up the black community.
Yeah,
because look at our grandparents compared to. Not our grandparents per se, but look at their generation compared to our parents' generation.
Completely different, night and day.
You got homeowners, you got renters, you got people getting on Section 8, you got people that's, it's two totally different. Two totally different. So that's a gang-banging crackheads. You got people in prison. The whole our grandparents, I couldn't even imagine my grandmother locked up in prison, or my dad or my grandfather on drugs or anything like that.
Well, let me tell you what's funny. My godfather, and I know he's gonna watch this and he's gonna call me and laugh about it. He tells me all the time, like his dad just recently passed away, but he was like his everything.
Yes.
But his dad was so stern and like that manly man, like that generation, like the one that was born like in the 1920s, they just didn't play.
Yeah.
But my godfather, he'll tell you, he's like, man, the reason why I didn't gangbang, it had nothing to do with little Ray and Pookie down the street. He was like, I was afraid of my dad.
Yeah.
He's like, I knew if I came in this house and my parents was below my butt, my dad was going to knock my head off my shoulders because they just didn't play that. And then when, like that generation, when they were raising their kids, they became way more lax.
Yeah.
And, that's when all this, you can't spank your kids and all that stuff came into play. And now look at what we have now.
Yeah.
Even being a dad, you have to watch. You got to watch what you do now.
Yeah.
You certain limits of chastisement. Your kids, they'll take them today.
Yeah. Oh,
they're not gonna wait till tomorrow.
It's crazy.
They would take them today.
But one thing that because I talk about that generation, by the grace of God, I was blessed with a mom that I never saw do anything like crazy. Right. Same with my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I saw it with like peers and like their parents or what they had to go through and stuff like that. But I was blessed with parents that, even though my mom and dad, they weren't together growing up, but that I didn't really see, like, my dad wasn't no crazy gangbanger. You know what I'm saying? My mom, she wasn't cracked out. I had to go find her on Western somewhere. Nothing like that. But
on Western, bro.
Western. Oh, it gets real on Western nowadays.
Ooh, but is it worse than Broadway?
Yeah. Western is the new Figueroa.
Oh, my Lord.
So I thank God that I never had to go through that per se, but I definitely seen like peers that went through it. You know what I mean? So, but just on down the line, this could be a whole nother episode too. Talk about the generations. Like, we're trying to bring it back.
Definitely.
Our generation is trying to bring things back, starting to get married again, starting to build business again, home owning again. And grandmother's house ain't in foreclosure anymore because we trying to buy it back.
For sure.
Stuff like that.
Like, we're getting back to what our forefathers were. We're getting back to that mentality. Yes. We're getting. That's why. This is another topic of discussion for a later date, and I'll probably do this before November 3rd. But voting, I see so many people that's playing down voting. Voting is serious.
Very.
Man, we had so many, of our grandparents that were, either killed or couldn't vote for whatever reason, or just all topic. They stood in lines for hours and hours and hours to be able to exercise the right that we take for granted now. Like nowadays, like this new generation, these millennials, they think everything is a game. Yeah. Everything is a prank. Yeah. Everything is about social media, and it's a game. It's a game to them until their rights get taken away. Then they understand, what these individuals mean, talking about some make America great again. Yeah. And what that saying really means.
Yeah. Definitely.
They don't really understand the dynamics of what's being said until it's too late. And to be honest with you, we can't afford that.
No, not at all.
We cannot afford to, because I tell anybody, I'm not picking cotton for nobody. I'm not going back. I could never be a slave.
Yeah, no. What's that movie? Ambellum?
Oh my God, Antebellum.
Yeah.
We getting way off topic of discussion, but
Yeah,
Antebellum.
we getting on.
Antebellum.
Yeah.
That is, if you all haven't seen this, please watch Antebellum.
Yeah.
That movie, Janelle, what's her name? Janelle Monáe? I thought it was Janelle Monáe. Oh yeah, Janelle Monáe.
Mm-hmm.
She did that, bro.
Yeah, it was good.
Me and Shannon watched that. I said, good Lord Almighty. And to think that this was something that was happening not that long ago.
Yeah.
This is not like during the slavery period. This is like they were really kidnapping people, taking them to a whole nother town, current millennial time, treating them as slaves.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it's that out here in the hood. A lot of people are slaves. They didn't even know it's slaves.
Well, they slaves in their mind.
Yeah. That's the worst slave.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, it really makes you think. And I know people say it time and time again, you know, back then, if the people would have just rose up
And fall back,
they wouldn't have been slaves so long. But see, this is what people fail to realize about back then. I'm pretty sure if they did do that, slavery would not have been that long. But the key is that when a person is in fear, you enslave a person in their mind, because that's what happened.
Well, you had the shotgun to their head.
But see, that enslaves your mind to make you afraid to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. So you watch your words, everything is secretive. You know, you can't talk back to massa and all those things.
Yeah.
So you watch what you say and do. But they were more so enslaved in their mind more than chains.
Yeah.
And mentally, that's worse than being physically in chains.
Yeah.
You know, I heard this old story when I was in high school, and this teacher, he was coming around to the classrooms talking about slavery and stuff like this, and he was talking about this story about a warden that gave this man a chance at freedom if he can just get out of his jail cell. He told him, he said, if you can get out of this cell, you'll be free today. So the man tried everything. He tried with the little tools he had. He tried to saw the bars off. He tried to pull the doors open. He tried to do all that. But what he did not do was simply open the door.
Open the gate. Yeah.
It
was unlocked.
It was unlocked. But because he had been in prison so long, that was worse than the door actually being locked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that actually happens. But once again, I want to thank you. We can go on and on and on and on. But I want to thank you, Mike, for doing this podcast episode with me. You know, it's very important, and I'm grateful that you allow God to use you and open up and be transparent about, you know, your co-parenting experience.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask anybody that's just now joining this live, please go back once it's loaded up and watch it. And it's some very key points and elements that Mike shares with this platform for you all to be able to experience. I want to say, please like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at My Life God's Way. And please follow Mike at Mike Norice on Instagram at Artfully United.
Yep.
On Instagram as well. And you can find him on Facebook as well at Mike Norice.
Mike Norice. Yep.
Okay. And this is the thing. Even if you can't find that, just type in Norice Legacy.
Yeah.
I'll be seeing that floating around
all day. I created that too.
Right. So if you search the hashtag Norice Legacy, you'll find him as well. So if you can't find the @. So I appreciate you, bro. And we're going to say see you all later into the next